Hey guys, it's Lotus and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to continue on with our read-along of Urha. Let's jump right into it. So, chapter 52, this venerable one didn't even get an appearance. So, really quickly, if you guys remember from last video, Chuaning woke up after being sick and seems to have shrunk. So, we're finally going to get Shasini. I'm so excited. Okay. Shui Zhengyang was practicing his sword at the northern peak when a haitang blossom floated over. He uttered a curious "eh?" and caught it while drying his sweat with a towel, muttering to himself, "Yu Heng's messenger haitang? He can't even be bothered to come over to talk anymore? When did he get so lazy?" But he still took the golden orb of light from the flower's center and placed it in his ear. Out came the unfamiliar voice of a child. "Sect leader, please come to the Red Lotus Pavilion at your earliest convenience." Shui Zhengyang didn't believe it at first, but when he stepped off from his sword in front of Chuaning's residence, he was completely dumbfounded. A child of about 5 or 6 years old stood in the pavilion by the lotus pond, stood with a hand held behind his back, gazing at the lotus with a face of gloom. Looking from the side, this person had a frosty expression and icy eyes to match. He was draped in Chuaning's robes, but they were really way too big on him, pooling on the ground, sleeve hem and all, looking like a fish towering behind it, a huge sweeping tail. Shui Zhengyang, ... The child turned around. "If you laugh, I will kill you and then myself," practically written on his face. Shui Zhengyang. The child slapped the table angrily. "What are you laughing at? What's so funny?" I'm definitely not oh my god, I can't, Yu Heng. I told you to go to Tanlang Elder to get that wound checked out, but you just wouldn't listen. I can't believe it. Shui Zhengyang roared with laughter, holding his stomach with both hands. I've never seen a kid with such a murderous aura before. This child was none other than the Chuaning who had awoken to find that he had shrunk. The vine that pierced his shoulder at Jincheng Lake must have been enchanted with some kind of curse that turns those stricken back into their 5 or 6-year-old selves. Thankfully, his spiritual power did not also revert, else Chuaning felt like he really might as well just die. Oh, toddler Chuaning! Oh, cute! Hun Ka'ai! Shui Zhengyang went to fetch a set of small-sized uniform for younger disciples, laughing the whole way there and back. Chuaning finally looked a little less comical after changing into the more fitting clothes. He straightened out the silver-trimmed blue handguards, looked up to shoot Shui Zhengyang a glare, then said vehemently, "If you dare tell anyone, I will end you." Shui Zhengyang laughed. I won't. But what are you gonna do about this? I don't know anything about healing, so you gotta get someone to take a look, right? How about I ask Tanlang Elder to come over?" Chuaning swept his sleeves angrily, but the sleeves of the disciple uniforms were tight and form-fitting. Waving them around didn't have the same effect at all. He grew even more grumpy. "Come over and do what? Laugh at me?" "Then how about I ask my wife to come take a look?" Chuaning pressed his lips together and said nothing, looking indignant. "I'll take that as a yes, then?" Chuaning only turned his back to him. Shui Zhengyang knew he was in a bad mood, but the sight was really too funny. He tried to hold back but ultimately failed, and once again burst into uproarious laughter. Tianwen appeared with a whoosh, Chuaning glaring at him out of the corner of his eye. "I dare you to laugh again." Okay, no more laughing. I'll go call my wifey over right away. Shui Zhengyang ran off and returned in no time with a worried Madame Wang in tow. Madame Wang froze as soon as she saw Chuaning, and a long while passed before she finally managed with disbelief, "Yu Heng Elder." Chuaning ... Thankfully, Madame Wang was a kind and compassionate doctor, unlike her husband. She asked Chuaning some questions while looking him over, then softly said, "Elder's spiritual energy circulation is fine, and there's nothing abnormal about your body either. Nothing seems to have changed aside from having turned into a child." Chuaning asked, "Does the madam know of a way to break the curse?" Madame Wang shook her head. "Elder's injury was caused by an ancient willow vine. I'm afraid there's no other known case of this ailment, so I do not know how to treat it. Chuaning lowered his lashes, stunned, and was speechless for a while. Madame Wang couldn't bear the sight and hurriedly said, "Yu Heng Elder, based on what I have seen, the most likely cause of your current state is that the willow vines likely contained a self-healing secretion that got into your wound and is not actually a curse, else it wouldn't have taken this long to take effect. It was probably only a very slight amount of the secretion and was only able to affect your body because you were overworking yourself day after day. How about you take care and rest up for a few days and see if anything changes?" Chuaning was silent for a while, then sighed. "If there's nothing else for it, many thanks, madam." "You're welcome." Madame Wang gave him another careful once-over. "With the elder's current appearance, as long as you don't tell them, no one will be able to tell it's you." She wasn't wrong. Even Chuaning himself had forgotten what he was like at 5 or 6. Looking at his reflection in the pond, other than some vague similarities in facial features, he didn't look very much like his grown-up self at all. Finally, feeling slightly relieved, he looked up at Shui Zhengyang to say, "Sect leader, I'm going to go into seclusion at the Red Lotus Pavilion for a few days. Please look after my disciples." "That's a matter of course. Shui is my son, Ronner is my nephew, and Shumei is a disciple of Shisheng Peak. Of course I'll look after them." Shui Zhengyang grinned. "You just worry about yourself." But 3 days of meditation later, and there still wasn't even the slightest sign of his body going back to normal. Chuaning couldn't help feeling even more anxious, totally unable to take care and rest up, as directed by Madame Wang. One evening, Chuaning finally couldn't handle the restless feeling any longer. Meditation wasn't doing anything anyway, might as well go take a stroll down the mountain, get some things off his mind. It was after dinner and before evening classes, and Shisheng Peak's paths and corridors were full of disciples, but no one really paid him any mind. Chuaning strolled around for a bit, then went to the bamboo forest near the platform of sin and virtue. The elders each had their own favorite practice area, and they always took their disciples for cultivation and training. This bamboo forest was Chuaning's. The tranquil rustling of bamboo leaves filled the air. Chuaning plucked the leaf and idly blew a melody with it, the crisp, serene notes soothing his agitated mind. But it wasn't long before the sound of footsteps approached and stopped near him. "Oi, kiddo!" Chuaning opened his eyes. It was Xuemeng, the long-legged and slim-waisted, standing proudly amidst the bamboo forest, blade Longcheng glistening in hand as he declared towards him, "I'm going to practice sword here. Go blow your leaf elsewhere." He can only talk like that because he doesn't know it's his Shizun. ... The end of Chuaning's eyebrow went up a bit. It was quite a strange feeling to have Xuemeng boss him around like this. He thought for a moment, then said, "I'll play my leaf. You can practice your sword. There's no interference." Xuemeng said, "No way! Hurry and leave. My blade will hurt you." "You can't hurt me." Xuemeng clicked his tongue, patience running thin. "Don't say I didn't warn you then. If you get injured later, it's none of my business," he said, Longcheng unsheathing with a powerful sound, like the hiss of a serpent emerging from the depths of a lagoon and soaring into the skies. Instantly, Longcheng became a dancing shadow in Xuemeng's hand amidst the flying leaves, a brilliant trail in its wake as light reflected off the blade. One slice rendered a leaf into 10 pieces, the force of it plucking more leaves from the bamboos. Pierce, thrust, swipe, and slash, every motion smooth as the glide of snow in wind. Even a 50-year-old cultivator would praise such an impressive display, not to mention a 5-year-old child. But even when Xuemeng had gone through 10 forms, the child was still just sitting on his rock playing his leaf, as if there was nothing astounding or even noteworthy happening in front of him. Xuemeng, irritated, unsheathed his blade and leaped down from the upper regions of the bamboo forest, landing lightly before Chuaning. "Kid... ... Hey kid, I'm talking to you!" Chuaning lowered the leaf and slowly opened his eyes to look expressionlessly at him. "What is it? Did your master not teach you to be courteous when speaking to others? Don't just go, hey this, hey that. I have a name." "Why would I care to know your name?" Xuemeng was going to be nice about it, but the rest of his good humor vanished after those thorny words. "Blades don't have eyes. Square 'em off to the side before mine cuts your head off." Chuaning replied with an air of indifference. If you can't even avoid my head, is there even any point to you practicing the blade? Oof. Oof. Shizun, savage. You... Shremung had never been this disputed in all his life, and by a beginner disciple who doesn't even reach up to his thigh at that. Angry and indignant, he said, "You sure are impudent! Do you even know who I am?" Chuaning glanced at him mildly. "Who are you?" I am the young master of Shishong Peak! Shremung was about to suffocate from indignation. How do you not even know this? The corners of Chuaning's lips quirked up slightly. The smile would have looked very mocking on his original face, but on his current childish, adorable face was even more infinitely mocking. Oh, you're just a young master. It's not like you're the sect leader. Why would I know about you? What did you say? Quit putting on airs and practice your sword. Chuaning lowered his long lashes and went back to playing his leaf, the melody floating leisurely in the wind, notes rising and falling. Shremung could seriously die from how mad he was. He let out a yell and actually got into it with a little kid. But no matter how mad he was, he still didn't want to hit a kid, so he could only leap up and hack ruthlessly away at the bamboos, which broke and fell in batches amidst the serene melody. His blade was swift and vicious. Several flashes, and dozens of bamboos had been carved into blunt points. Against an enemy, the points would have been razor sharp, but this was enough for teaching a junior disciple a lesson. Hundreds of pointed bamboo sticks fell directly toward Chuaning, and were mere inches from hurting him. Shremung rushed downwards to move this cheeky little disciple out of the way. He didn't actually want to hurt the kid, just to scare him a bit. But, unexpectedly, in the same instant he rushed down, the child stopped playing and flicked the leaf between his fingertips, the tender bamboo leaf suddenly turning into hundreds of fine threads. Instantaneously, the hundreds of threads struck out toward the falling spikes with stunning precision. Even the wind seemed to stop flowing. Chuaning stood up. Simultaneously, the hundreds of spikes all around him became mere powder, utterly obliterated. Wow, you go, Shizun, showing off a little, I see. Shremung stood frozen in shock, face both pale and red, unable to manage even half a word. The little kid before his eyes looked up, silver blue uniform fluttering, and grinned at Shremung. You wanna go again? Shremung, ... Oh, Shizun's being cheeky, a cheeky little brat here. Your strikes are vigorous but without order, too erratic and unsteady. Shremung opened his mouth, then closed it. Chuaning continued. Start over from the sparrow form. Follow my music. Go through each form in time with the segments of the tune, and no faster than that. To be instructed like this by a little kid, Shremung's face became even more overcast, biting his lip and not moving at all. Chuaning didn't rush him, waiting quietly to see if Shremung would lay down his ego for the sake of improvement, if he would be willing to listen to a half-grown child. A while passed before Shremung suddenly stomped his feet in dejection, flung his sword, and turned to leave. Watching him leave in a fit, Chuaning's expression darkened a little, thinking that it was truly such a pity that Shremung couldn't humble himself to accept guidance. But, before he could even finish that train of thought, he saw Shremung pick up a branch from the ground and turn around to say huffily, Then I'll use a branch, just in case I hit you. Chuaning paused, then he nodded with a smile. All right. Shremung plucked the bamboo leaf for him and wiped it clean before handing it over. Here, Xiao Didi, for you. So he's Xiao Didi now, instead of kiddo. So Shremung's showing him a little bit of respect now that he's shown off his prowess. Chuaning threw an amused glance at him, accepted the leaf, and, sitting back down on the rock, leisurely started playing again. Shremung had a rash personality. This maneuver includes a move where the wielder leaps and turns in midair while unleashing 6 stabs followed by a strike. But Shremung never could get it quite right, often stabbing over a dozen times before the strike, which far misses the optimum window. Shremung messed it up 5-6 times in a row, his brows drawing increasingly tighter as he grew more and more agitated. In his agitation, he caught a glimpse of the child sitting on the rock playing the bamboo leaf. Despite his tender years, he was the very image of composure, without even the slightest bit of complaint, and Shuemeng couldn't help the sense of shame that crept up. So he rallied his spirits and tried several more times, slowly getting a feel for it in the melody's rhythm. But he didn't get ahead of himself, keeping at it until late night when the moon was hanging high in the sky and he could finally complete the maneuver flawlessly. Shuemeng wiped at the sweat on his brows, exclaiming happily, "Today was all thanks to you! Which elder's disciple are you, lil bro? You're pretty amazing! How did I not know about you before?" Chuaning was already prepared for the question. Xuanji Elder had many disciples, so many that he couldn't even remember them all. He put the leaf away and said with a small smile, "I am Xuanji's Elder's disciple." Shuemeng seemed to think rather little of Xuanji. He humped. "Oh, the Rubbish King, huh?" "Rubbish King?" Pardon me." Shuemeng misunderstood the surprise in Chuaning's eyes and thought the child was upset that he had derided his Shizun. He smiled and explained, "It's just a nickname. Your Shizun accepts anyone and everyone. The rubbish part refers to those disciples of his that are completely talentless, not Xuanji Elder himself. Don't mind it, lil bro." Chuaning, "Do you guys often give the elders nicknames in private?" Oh wow, that was a short chapter. Okay. Author's notes. Shuemeng, "I met this child today. Pretty impressive, but something felt wrong." Shue Zhengyang, nervous. "What felt wrong?" Shuemeng, "His expressions towards me felt wrong." Shue Zhengyang, "Maybe you provoked him. It's normal that he noticed you." Shuemeng, angry table flip. "No, there is no admiration in his eyes. Do you know how it feels when a kid not even 1 meter tall looks down upon you?" Shue Zhengyang, ... "Yes, son, I know the feeling." Okay, so that was the end of chapter 52. So, Chuaning, because he got hurt by the willow vine when they were at Jincheng Lake, he regressed to his 5/6-year-old self, although he still has his memories and his powers from his adult form. But he's a little chibi now. He's probably so cute and pouty, and he's actually really cheeky now. Like, he's teasing Shuemeng and smiling more. Already he smiled a lot and seems to really be enjoying himself despite being stuck as a little kid. So it's really cute seeing his interactions with Shuemeng. Shuemeng's trying to act like a big brother, but he's constantly embarrassing himself because Chuaning is obviously more powerful than him. But yeah, let's move on to chapter 53. Hopefully, Moran and Shimei and maybe some others make an appearance. I want to see Moran's reaction. Okay, let's see, chapter 53. This Venerable One's cousin is certainly not very smart. Oh, it's so mean to Shuemeng. He's trying. Well, of course they all get nicknames. No one gets a pass. Shuemeng appeared to be in quite the good mood, eager to show Chuaning the ropes. "You look pretty young. What are you, 5? What are you, 5? You must be new to Shisheng Peak then. Haven't gotten to know everyone yet. Once you've settled in, you'll find out that the disciples have nicknames for all 20 of the elders." Oh. Chuaning shot him an undecipherable look. For example? "Oh man, where do I even start? But it's getting late now and I'm kinda hungry. As thanks for all the pointers you gave me today, I'll take you for a late night snack down the mountain and tell you over food." Chuaning thought for a moment with his head lowered, then smiled and said, "Okay." Shuemeng put away Longcheng and took Chuaning's hand, the unknowing disciple and the downsized master walking along the stone steps between the bamboo grove toward the main gate. Oh my gosh! Shuemeng is holding Chuaning's hand. That's so cute. Oh, Hankai, so cute. "Lil bro, what are you called?" Shuemeng asked as they walked. Chuaning answered calmly, "My surname is Xia." "Xia what?" "Xia Sini." Sounds like scare you to death. Shuemeng completely failed to catch on. Oh, it's so Chuaning use that name as a pun, like he's literally trolling Shuemeng right now. Shuemeng completely failed to catch on, even happily asking, "That's a nice name, written with which letters?" Chuaning glanced at him sideways with a look reserved for idiots. "Si as in disciple si, ni as in disciple ni. Ni is 3, like, I'm not sure which tone that is. As in disciple ni. xianxia. Ooh. Shuemeng, still grinning, kept asking, "And how old are you? Was I right before, or what? You can't be older than 5. Chuanning's entire face was dark. Luckily for Shuemeng, he was looking at the road and not his face, or he'd definitely have gotten the scare of his life. No, the young master guessed wrong. I'm 6 this year." Oh, pouty Chuanning. Shuemeng: "Then you're amazingly talented, but not quite as much as I was at your age, of course. Anyway, with a bit of guidance, you'll definitely grow up to be outstanding. Say, why don't you quit being Xuanji's disciple? Call me Shiga, and I'll go ask my Shizun to take you on as a disciple. How about that?" Chuanning managed with effort to not roll his eyes. "What did you say for me to call you?" "Shiga." Shuemeng, still grinning, bent down and flicked Chuanning's forehead. "This is a rare opportunity, you know." He flicked Chuanning's forehead? Shizun! Oh my gosh, Shizun, please do not get angry. Chuanning's expression was complicated. ... What? Speechless from overwhelming joy? Chuanning ... The two laughed and chattered as they walked. At least, Shuemeng thought they were laughing and chattering, when a voice suddenly came from behind them and ended this line of conversation that might have led to Shuemeng's untimely demise. Oh, Moran to the rescue. Meng, what are you doing here? On the entire Xisheng Peak, to have the nerve to call Shuemeng Meng, who else could it be? Shuemeng started cursing before he was even done turning his head. "Moran, you goddamn mutt! Call me that one more time and I'll rip your dog tongue out." Sure enough, Moran stood behind them under the clear moonlight, clothes fluttering in the breeze and an easy grin on his face. He was just about to throw a retort to tease Shuemeng some more when he noticed the dainty kid next to him and screeched to a halt. "This is..." Shuemeng pulled Chuanning behind him, glowering at Moran. "None of your business." No, don't hide him away." Moran circled around and grabbed Shuemeng's hand, pulling Chuanning back out and crouching down to give him a careful once-over. He made a questioning noise, muttering, "This child looks awfully familiar." Chuanning, inwardly alarmed, ... "Feels like I've seen you somewhere before." Chuanning didn't like where this was going. If he got busted here, how would he ever face anyone ever again? He took a subconscious step back and turned to run. "Hold it!" Moran grabbed him with a mischievous grin, then reached out and playfully swiped his nose and said in a soft voice, "Come, little Didi, tell Guga your name?" The nose that just got swiped felt oily. Awkward and self-conscious, Chuanning kept trying to back away. Moran thought he was scared and laughed as he said, "What are you hiding for? Be good and tell Guga. Is your name Shue?" Shuemeng: "Ha? He's not my kid." Moran pointed at Shuemeng and asked, smiling, "Is he your papa? Tell the truth. This Guga will buy you candy." "What's your problem, Mo Wei Yu?" Shuemeng exploded, face bright red feathers all ruffled. What the hell are you thinking? You're despicable, filthy, shameless!" Chuanning was also speechless for a while, but secretly felt somewhat relieved. "My surname is Xia, Xuanji Elder's disciple Xia Xini." "Scare you to death?" Moran caught the meaning immediately, and his eyes curved into slivers of amusement. "Haha, how interesting!" ... "Seriously, what's wrong with you?" Shuemeng shoved Moran away and said angrily, "He's my new friend! Butt out already! We're going for a late-night snack! Out of the way!" "Don't talk to me or my friend! Go! Shoo, dumb husky!" "Okay!" Moran moved out of the way, but then fell into step next to them, grinning and swaggering. Shuemeng roared at him. "What do you think you're doing?" "I want a bite to eat too," Moran said innocently. "What, am I not allowed to?" Shuemeng, grrr. Wuchang Town. This small town had once been infested with all manners of ghosts and ghouls, but thanks to the founding of Xisheng Peak nearby, it gradually regained its peace over the years, and could even be called lively these days. It was late enough that the night market was already open. The group walked past the many stalls on the sides of the road and picked a gudong soup, hot pot or shabu shabu place, taking their seat at a low wooden table in the outdoor area. Gudong soup uses a pot propping over a stove, with the fire burning while eating. The broth is generally very spicy. Fresh, raw ingredients are placed on the table and dipped into the boiling broth to be cooked at the time of eating. It was called gudong soup because of the gudong sound of food being tossed into the broth. This was a famed dish of the Chuanshu province, but Chuaning only ate it with clear broth free of peppers. Anything spicy made him choke. Xuemeng was born here, and Moran had grown up around Xiangtan. Both of them were used to spicy food, and naturally assumed that Xiaxini could also handle it. When they sat down to order, Xuemeng called out a bunch of dishes with familiarity, and added, "With extra peppers and chili oil in the broth." But Chuaning suddenly tugged on his sleeve and said quietly, "I want a twin pot." "What?" Xuemeng thought he had misheard. Chuaning's expression was dark. "Twin pot. Half spicy, half mild." "Xuemeng, you aren't from here?" Ah. Xuemeng nodded in understanding, but there was surprise in his eyes as he glanced at Chuaning. "To have left your home at such a young age, it's really so... Sigh, never mind." He sighed and turned to the waiter. "All right, twin pot then." But there seemed to be a hint of resistance in Xuemeng's tone. Soon enough, he found that he indeed was not imagining things, that Xuemeng really was reluctant to just accept it, fussing incessantly as they waited for their food. "Shidi, what in Chuangshu do as the Chuangshu people do? You gotta learn to eat spicy foods. How are you gonna get buddy-buddy with people when you go out and you don't eat spicy? You don't have to know the local dialect, but spicy food is non-negotiable. Oh yeah, where are you from anyway?" Chuaning, Rin'an. Oh, Xuemeng mulled it over. He knew little and less of that southern region, so he asked while nibbling on the tips of his chopsticks, "Do you guys eat rabbit heads over there?" Before Chuaning could even respond, Moran had already piped up from the side with a smile. "Of course not!" Xuemeng shot him a glare, and Chuaning also looked over at him. Moran had a foot up on the wooden bench and an arm propped casually on his knee as he skillfully twirled the chopsticks in his hand. Seeing their reactions, he grinned and tilted his head. "What? Why the look? They really don't eat that." Xuemeng turned to ask Chuaning, "Is that true?" Xuemeng went back to glaring at Moran. "How did you know that? You been there?" "Nope." Moran pulled a funny face. "But Xia Shang and our Shizun are from the same place. Don't you even know that Shizun doesn't eat rabbit head? When he picks cold dishes at Mengpo Hall, it's either tofu with scallion or sweet osmanthus lotus root. Look for yourself next time if you don't believe me." Chuaning, ... "Ah, I guess I never really paid attention before. I haven't had the guts to look at what's in Shizun's plate ever since that one time I saw his breakfast. Too scary." Xuemeng rubbed his chin and let the distaste show on his face. "Shizun's tastes are really beyond words. Did you know he actually eats savory tofu pudding?" Chuaning, ... As he spoke, Xuemeng actually turned toward him and said, sincerely and with the utmost importance, "Little Shidi, definitely, absolutely, do not take after Yu Hung Elder, or no one will want to eat with you. Remember, rabbit head and spicy foods are both mandatory, and when you have tofu pudding for breakfast, do not eat it with savory sauce." Oh man. Xuemeng is really digging a pit for himself right now. "Don't forget about the seaweed and dried shrimp," Moran added. "Right, seaweed and dried shrimp too." It was a rare instance of Xuemeng and Moran uniting against a common enemy. Absolutely unacceptable. Chuaning looked at the pair of idiots, face devoid of expression. Oh. Their dishes came in short order. Fresh and crispy bamboo shoots, vividly green cabbage, tender tofu, succulent fillets of fish, thinly sliced rolls of lamb neatly piled on a porcelain plate, meat fried to a crunchy gold and sprinkled with cumin and pepper flakes, and a jar of freshly made soy milk on the side, the little table creaking under the weight. Sounds delicious. Food brings people together, especially a lively meal like gudong soup. A couple plates of lamb and a few cups of soy milk later, even Xuemeng and Moran's strained relationship became more relaxed in the thick steam, at least for the time being. Xuemeng scored the spicy broth with his chopsticks. "Oi, where's the brain I put in here?" "Isn't it attached to your neck?" Moran laughed. I meant the pig brain. Moran bit his chopstick with an impish grin. That's the one. You goddamn mutt, dare insult me? Oh hey, your brain floated up, time to eat. Shuemeng walked right into his trap in a moment of excitement, yelling, Put your dog paw away! Don't even think about stealing it, that's my brain! Sometimes it looks like Shuemeng and Moran share one brain cell. Poor Chuaning having to, deal with both of their shenanigans all the time. Chuaning sat on his little stool. Tiny little stool, I bet his feet can't even touch the ground when he sits down. Chuaning sat on his little stool, leisurely drinking his jar of sweet soy milk while watching the brats bicker. He was in no hurry. The entire side of the pot was all his. He has the entire mild side because both of them like spicy. He finished the soy milk and licked his lips as if wanting more. Moran saw and asked with a smile, Does little Shidi like it? Chuaning took a moment to digest the fact that he was just called little Shidi and internally calculated the possibility of making him not do that, only to arrive at the conclusion that his chances are practically zero, so he could only reply dryly, it's not bad. So Moran turned toward the waiter. Excuse me, another jar of soy milk for my Shidi here. And so Chuaning contently began drinking a second jar. Oh, cute. He had always loved sweets, but he got a cavity from eating too many pastries before, and Tanlong Elder had to go to quite the trouble to restore it for him. Since then, Chuaning has refrained from overindulging in sweets for the sake of his thin face. Being stuck as a kid had the unexpected benefit of letting him eat all the sweets he wanted. Moran watched him eat with his cheek propped in a hand. Your tastes are just like Shizun's. Chuaning choked a little, but managed to maintain his placid expression. Is Shishong talking about Yuheng Elder? Yup. Moran nodded with a smile as he pushed a steamer basket toward Chuaning. Try this, I think you'll like it too. Chuaning picked up a leaf-wrapped steamed bun from the bamboo steamer and took a small bite. Warm steam gushed out from the bun, and inside, the soft, glutinous wrapper was a sweet bean paste filling. Do you like it? Chuaning took another bite before nodding. Moran smiled. Then have some more. The three of them chatted while eating. Chuaning suddenly remembered the earlier subject, and, after finishing his fourth bun, asked Shuemeng with feigned nonchalance, By the way, young master, you mentioned earlier that every elder has a nickname. If my Shizun Xuanji elder is called the Rubbish King, then what's Yuheng Elder's nickname? Oh, they left us at a cliffhanger. Okay. Author's notes. The yin-yang pot thing comes from that joke, how to tell when a Sichuanese person is utterly disappointed in you. The following is abridged with the characters from the novel. How to tell when the young master of Shisheng Peak is utterly disappointed in you. Shui Jiming. Okay, yin-yang pot, then yin-yang pot it is. How to tell when Elder Yuheng is utterly disappointed in you. Chuaning. Sure, no sugar, then no sugar it is. How to tell when the little handsome Shiga from Shisheng Peak is utterly disappointed in you. Xi Mingjing. Hey, okay, looks feminine, then looks feminine it is. How to tell when Lin Yi Rufeng Sex Ye Gongzi is utterly disappointed in you. Ye Wangxi. Unseen, then unseen it is. How to tell when Kunlun Tashue Palace Elder Shishang is utterly disappointed in you. Mei Huan She. Mei Han Shui. Hehe. Like above, then like above it is. How to tell when this novel's main character is utterly disappointed in you. Mo Wei Yu. Big scumbag, then big scumbag it is. Meatbun. Hang on, looks like someone from above is giving up. Okay, that's a cute little thing. So based on this little author's note mini theater, pretty much everyone is a tsundere, pretty much, is what I'm getting from this. So, in chapter 53, we got to see Chuaning, baby Chuaning, interacting with Shuemeng and Moran. He comes into the picture, and they go out to eat, and they're teasing him, and they're asking him questions like where he's from. And Chuaning gets to indulge in sweets, which is his favorite, and because of his thin face, he doesn't eat it often as an adult, but he's letting himself loose because no one knows who he is, and he can be a child. And so I'm pretty sure that him being Shasini is going to be a great chance for him to have a cathartic, relaxing, quote-unquote vacation while Yuheng Elder is away in close cultivation. So yeah, I'm really excited to see Chuaning interact with his disciples more. We haven't seen Shimei yet, but maybe he'll come in the next read-along, hopefully. I want to see him interact with all 3 of his disciples, and just maybe like Chuaning getting a chance to be more vulnerable around others. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, I hope you guys really enjoyed today's read-along. I absolutely did. I'm just picturing Chibi Chuaning, and he's so cute. Yeah, so that's it for today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!